Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn how to configure Boss Secretary Services in Inform Voice. Inform Voice implements Boss Secretary Services through a group of features, which by the way can be implemented independently. The first one is the park hold feature. We need to create park positions for the secretary to park the calls and announce them to the boss, and the boss eventually will retrieve them. We will need to group extension numbers, and for that we will use address groups. The secretary will need to monitor the status of the boss if he or she is uh, idle or busy on a call. And also, the secretary might need to barge into a boss's conversation because the need to announce an important event which deserves that interruption. Finally, we will take advantage of the possibility of certain brands and models of phones to assign programmable function keys, to assign keys for park and for busy lamp field for easy operation of this feature. So let's see, how do we implement it in our system. The first feature we are going to implement is the park hold feature. So we need park positions. We will need to go to our numbering plan and we will create those park extensions. We will add an extension type that's called directed pickup address. This is the name for the park extension. We will give it a number within our numbering plan. I'll give it a name. I'll set a zone. My example will use users and extensions of the Orlando zone, so that I will change the zone to Orlando, and I will disable the ability for the system to search or display this number in the clients on computers. Let's create another one. Okay, at this point, the park feature is already implemented. There is an access code to put a call in park mode. That's done through feature code with we call also called star code, and the user can page through a paging system and announce that a call is being parked in a certain position, and anybody can come and to a terminal, pick up the handset, dial the park position, and retrieve the call. But our purpose is to put those park positions on keys on the secretary's terminal and on the boss's terminal for them to be able to see if the park position is busy or not, and also to be able to park and retrieve um, the calls. So for that, first we need to group the park positions. We will use address groups for that. So we will need to go to our General tab. We will need to open up the plus sign, so we open up the items, and the first item is called address group. So I will add a new address group. I will name it Marketing Orlando because my boss and secretary are the marketing group in Orlando. And I will add the park stations that I just created. Now, in order for the secretary and the boss to be able to monitor the status of those park extensions, we will need to use a term that's very common in the IT environment. which is access rights. We need to give users the rights to those park extensions. And we do so by giving the users rights to the address group. So you can see there is a rights tab here. So now I will add the boss's user and the secretary's user. I will look for the boss, which is Bill Donaldson, and I will look for the secretary, which is Penny Tucker. Let me see, fine, it's this way. Yes. And you can see there is a monitor privilege that right now it says monitor only. With that, I'm able to see if the park position is busy or idle. The next item would be to give the secretary the ability to see the boss's extension and to see if the boss is idle or busy. So for that, I will need again to give the secretary certain rights, but now I need to give them the rights to the boss's extension. So I can create another address group for that, or I can use the same address group. And I can use the same address group, and now I can add the boss's extension, which is 2005. So now I added Bill Donaldson here. Now it turns out that now the rights not only will apply to the two park extensions, it will also apply to Bill Donaldson's extension. So we are good here. Now what's missing is that the right that the secretary has, it's only a monitor right. So if the secretary needs to barge, we will need to give her more rights. In order to do so, we will go to the secretary's user. So we will go to the users tab and we will search for Penny Tucker. Here is Penny Tucker. And you can see there is a user rights tab. And you can see that there is already a right added for the address group because we added under the address group. Now, here is where I can change the privilege. You can see I have a monitor privilege and I have a supervised privilege. So in this case, I will give them supervised rights to the secretary. This way, the secretary not only will be able to monitor the boss's status, she or she in this case, will be able to barge into the boss's conversation if necessary. Finally, this is our last step, we will assign function keys to the station of the boss and the secretary. So here we go to the Stations tab, and we will find first the boss's extension. And you can see this is an NEC phone which has programmable keys. The two brands that right now are able to support programmable keys handled by Inform Voice are the NEC DT terminals and the SNOM terminals. This is at the time of the recording, which I'm doing in December 2025. So in the future, we might have more brands or models of terminals which are able to support key programmability. and this kind of functionality. So you can see the first key is always used because it's the what we call the line key. So we can assign functions starting with the key number 2. So let's say in the case of the boss's terminal, we need to basically assign the park keys. So here we have a park extension function. We can give it a name. We need to give them a number. And I can give it, in this case, just a visual indication. And that's it. So, and let's hope, as we have another one, we will give them the other one as well. So bosses might need one or more park extensions depending on the use. So of course, as I changed the key programming or the station's configuration, Inform Voice changed certain configuration files in the system, and the phone needs to be rebooted to grab the new configuration files. This is why the system is asking me to reboot. I say yes. Of course, this is a made-up MAC address, so the phones don't exist, but in reality, this is what we would do on a real case scenario. Now, regarding the secretary's key arrangement, the secretary can have the same two park keys. Let's put them in the same place, just. Oh, here goes the name. And we have a visual, and then another park extension, park 2, 6002, and visual. Now, but for the secretary, we will need the busy lamp field for the boss. Now, instead of having just a busy lamp field that shows the status of the boss, Inform Voice expands this capability with an enhanced busy lamp field function. The enhanced busy lamp field function not only shows the information, shows the status of the address that's being monitored here. In this case is 2005, but also will allow the secretary to press that key and perform different functions depending on the status of the secretary's terminal or the boss's terminal. Let's complete the configuration here. In our case, if I wanna, in the case of the enhanced BLF, I wanna have a ringing signal when the boss is called, so the secretary knows the boss is being called. So I change the monitor type to soft ring instead of just visual. So we'll reboot the phone. So, and that's basically it. That's basically the way to implement Boss Secretary. But I will explain a little bit further the abilities of the enhanced BLF. I will go back to my slides and I will show you just a couple of slides with some information that will help you understand the abilities of the enhanced busy lamp field. Remember that the system allows more than one call on the same extension. This is done through the class of service. I can allow only one call or more than one call. If I allow only one call, this is the pattern that the system is going to follow. So The way to read the slide is if the secretary is idle and the boss is idle and the secretary presses the busy lamp killed field of the boss, she places a call to the boss. If the secretary is idle but the boss is on a call, nothing happens if the secretary presses a key. If the secretary is idle but the boss has a call on hold, then the secretary picks up the call from the boss if she or he presses the BLF key. The same happens when the call is ringing on the boss. Then the call is being picked up from the boss's station. And finally, if the secretary is connected and she presses the boss's key, so she initiates a transfer to the boss. Now, in case of any CDT terminals which have soft keys in the lower line of the display and soft keys on the right below it, the terminal has some enhanced capabilities, and especially when you have the station being able to receive more than one call, specifically the boss. There are a little bit more options for the secretary and the boss's condition. So if the secretary is idle and the boss is idle, she will place a call to the boss. If the secretary is idle and the boss is on a call, pressing the BLF key will change the screen and will show a different set of soft keys that allows the secretary either to call the boss or to monitor the boss. She can call the boss because it generates a call waiting a signal on the boss that when the boss allows only one call wouldn't be possible. If the secretary is idle and the boss has a call on hold, the secretary will have the option either to call or pick up the call on hold from the boss. If the secretary is idle and the boss's phone is ringing, well, she will pick up the ringing call. If the secretary is on a call and the boss is ringing, pressing the BLF key will put the secretary's call on hold and grab the boss's call. If the secretary is on a call and the boss is idle, we'll open a transfer screen with the options to call the boss or to blind transfer the boss. And if both are connected, there is another option that's being added so the secretary can monitor the boss. And if the boss has a call on hold and the secretary has a call, then there are another option like pick up that call on hold. As you can see, the DT terminal and using the ability of the screen and the soft keys is able to do a lot of things just depending on the state. The SNUM phone has a similar operation as the screen I showed you before. It doesn't have so many possibilities, but still is pretty useful to use just one key and have different functions on the same key. In summary, we learned how to implement boss secretary services using a combination of park hold feature, address group feature, monitor and barge feature, and programmable function keys. With that, I thank you, and I see you in the next video.